Hey guys, it's Mike Arce here again, and I'm here with Tina Garza and Nick Silveri. So, in the last few days, maybe in the last 4 or 5 days, I've interviewed both Nick. Nick, I interviewed you on the Paycheck Protection Program, and basically we released a video on YouTube that said everything you need to know about it. As of that day, there are updates, which is why we're talking today. And Tina also interviewed you, but on IDLE, the EIDL program, and basically that was the economic injury disaster loans and everything you need to know about it, again, as of then. So there have been some changes, and why don't we lead off with Christina. Christina, tell me about some of the changes that have happened so far, and I think it's really just in the last few hours. Is that right?
Right, yeah. So the Department of Treasury has posted their final guidance and also a new application. The one that you may have seen before is no longer valid. But the new information says that independent contractors will not be included in the calculation for the maximum loan amount. So it's only people who are, W-2'd with a maximum of $100,000 per year in compensation.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are scrambling to have to go and recalculate that, which is going to be fun, but okay, maybe not fun. Fun's the wrong word. Going to be something.
Okay, so independent contractors are not included. And then also the app is new. So you have to, if you've already done the application, you have to redo the app again under the new application, right?
Right, yeah. So the original application on the very top of it only had like a few spaces for the type of business you can be. And I think from my memory, it was like veterans organization, nonprofit, sole prop, independent contractor. And I filled one out for a client this morning and I was like, we shouldn't do this. Their bank asked for it. We still gave it to them, but now we have to redo it again. And then they have a few other things like in the application where now the agent can fill the form out, which is great because we're acting as agent for all of our clients, making it seamless. And before it was the borrower and the agent who had to sign. But for me, that was the biggest change that I saw. I don't know, Nick, did you see any other big changes that I'm maybe blind to right now? I'm kind of seeing double, so.
The independent contractor was the big one. But the reason I wanted to talk with you, Mike, is I talked with the SBA specialist at my bank after I read the Treasury rules. And there is very good news for people that pay themselves on owner distributions. And he has a pretty good understanding of it and had a good argument for why the owner's distributions would count. So when Tina said that only W-2s will count, the 1099s will not count towards the owner. The 1099s will need to do their own PPP because they're basically their own business. But the way he is reading it and the way they're going to start making loans tomorrow based off of is that however you pay yourself, whether that's through W-2s, and this is for the owner, whether it's through W-2s or, distributions or Schedule C or any of that, just bring all documentation that can show, like if you just like once a month write yourself a check, bring your bank account showing that once a month you write yourself a check as the way that you pay yourself. So I'm a chiropractor. The people that listen to me are chiropractors. So that's going to be a big one. I haven't even told my audience yet. So
that's a really great point. So we're actually pulling the balance sheet for all of our clients to be able to see what they've been paying themselves in distributions or draws or anything like that. We can back it up with bank statements and whatever we need. But yes, you are correct. It will be including owner pay, but it's just a 1099, people that you will not include, and owners are not ever going to get a 1099. So they would definitely be excluded from that category.
Okay, so any business owners that pay themselves, salary and distribution.
We'll be including both. We're just going to cap it at the 100,000.
Up to 100K.
Yeah.
Up to 100K. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Which makes sense. I mean, that's totally, you should be able to live on that.
But there was a lot of consternation about that one in my world. A lot of people that that's how they make their money. And a lot of chiropractors are in that 100 to 150K a year mark. And so they have no money coming in, some of them. So this is big news for us.
No, it's really good. Okay, cool. Now, so independent contractors, what you said is they'll have to do one for themselves. So let's kind of map that out. So let's say this is the business owner here, and let's say I've got 2 independent contractors. They're not employees. Okay, these are both ICs. So let's say each one of them, I'm finding a way to pay, let's say $3K a month right now. That's how I pay them. And I do it through 1099. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for these guys here right now, this $3K is not going to be able to be forgiven on the PPP, right?
Not for yours.
Not
for
me.
theirs, it will.
For theirs. So these,
and you can't qualify for it either. So that's the other thing. You can't include it in the maximum loan amount. So they won't even give you the money to pay them anyway. So the forgiveness part doesn't even matter because you don't have the money to pay them. It'll be less money.
So you can't even include it. Okay. And for them though, however, so these two independent contractors, if they're getting paid $3K and they've been getting paid generally around that, they can go, from what I understand, get their own application and they could do it for themselves and still get paid the same amount. The only difference is instead of you paying them, the government's paying them.
Yeah, but not tomorrow. Their applications go out on the 10th, according to the Treasury. The people who are LLCs, S corps, C corps, people like that are all going to be able to apply tomorrow, unless I've missed something in this adjustment.
Okay, but not.
And I can actually check the new loan application as well, because I was actually on the loan application before.
Okay. All right, cool. And I also saw something that there was like they doubled the interest rate or something like that too. What happened there?
Yep. So, well, they actually changed the interest rate a few times. It was originally supposed to be 4% in a 10-year term. Then it went to 5.5% in a 2-year term. Now it's 1% in a 2-year term. So I don't know what it'll be tomorrow or even in a couple hours. I guess we'll find out. It says it's final.
It'll be 1%.
I know. It's just been changing so much. So I'm just making.
But if you do have to turn it into a loan, the loan payments won't happen until 6 months after they figure out what your loan amount is, and then you have 18 months to pay that back.
Right.
Got it. Okay. And so
the interest does accrue over the 6 months, though.
Okay, interest does accrue over the 6 months. Okay. Yep. And so right now it's April 2nd. So technically tomorrow, Friday, we were supposed to be able to go and get this thing taken care of. And so now what we're seeing is there's a good chance, very good chance that it's probably not going to happen, correct?
I have a feeling.
My bank is processing loans tomorrow. So a lot of banks out there, because of these treasury rules, will start processing loans tomorrow. And the way he explains it is that there is going to be a portal that the banks will use with the SBA. He thinks, and it doesn't come out until tomorrow, but he thinks it's going to be a very simple process for the banks. They will make sure that you're actively getting the banks what they need if they need something signed, because once they get that promissory note from the portal, they're going to need you to sign it after you've turned in your application. Once you've signed that, they think, he was telling me he's got a queue of 200. He said that their goal is to process them all Friday. And if they can't fund the loans Friday, they'll be funding them on Monday is their plan, but they still have to see what the portal looks like for the SBA.
So didn't JP Morgan Chase send all of their clients an email that says that they're probably not going to be doing the program by tomorrow because of
each
not
bank
being
is
ready?
going to be each bank is going to be different, but these treasury rules, he was in communication with an administrator with the SBA who told them that the portal will be ready tomorrow so that the banks can process. My bank is a community bank, so it's not as big as like Chase, but Wells Fargo I don't think is doing it until next week. SunTrust, Chase, maybe. So some of these bigger ones that maybe have a little bit more liability or they don't know the customers as well, maybe they're taking some time just to make sure. But as of 8:30 p.m. tonight, my SBA specialist at the bank, who's the guy in charge of these loans for my bank, they're going ahead as soon as they get access to that portal.
That's good to hear. I mean, I've been in contact with my bank every day, twice a day for the last week or so. I had 3 conversations with him today. His ideas or his beliefs really mirrored, what JP Morgan Chase had sent to their clients, that it's probably not going to happen. But I also just saw the White House, on Twitter say that everything is going to go through. So I'm going to act as though we can get everything done. I'm going to stay up, and do all these applications and redo calculations and get them out, with the idea that no matter what, we're going to push forward. But I wouldn't be surprised if, smaller banks may be able to offer it, but maybe other banks don't. So I don't really know what's going to happen, but let's just have some hope, I guess.
The change from 0.5% to 0.1% was probably because there were a lot of banks. They're like, it's not worth it at 0.5%.
Yeah, that's what my banker said.
That change was to make sure that the banks had enough incentive to actually do it.
Right.
Okay. So what are the next steps for the business
Actually,
owner?
one last thing.
Yep.
Tina, I think your business is as an agent. In the Treasury rules, it says that if you have an agent helping you with this PPP program, that they cannot charge you personally. They also cannot use the PPP money, that the way the agent gets paid is 1% of the approved amount.
Right. Yeah. And that number changes depending on the loan amount. It goes down past 350,000 and again, past 2 million. And so I'm not asking our clients to pay us for this. I've already been really transparent and actually showed them the rules and said, I need to pay my people. They're working overtime. If we act as your agent, I'm going to, pass this along to my team as a bonus so that, they can keep putting money in savings, just in case. But yeah, I'm fully aware of that. And I'm excited for that because it is a lot of work, especially going through and reading. You've already read the bill 10 times back and forth. I'm doing the same and I'm educating my clients, and that takes time and resources. So if we can make some, that would be great. But that's obviously not the reason I'm doing it. I want them to make money and stay in business so that, they can continue on with their life.
Yeah. Well, that is really cool that they're taking care of you guys. So, or anybody that's helping out.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so.
Yeah. Okay. So next steps for the business owner that's watching this right now, because he heard there was some sort of an update and he's like, I don't know what to do. So you're talking to the business owner right now that is not nearly as up to date as we are, definitely not as up to date as you guys are. What do you say to him? What's the next step?
So actually I have a question that maybe Dr. Nick can help me with. There's some differences in language between the Treasury Department and the bill and, even on the application. So we have been looking historically at our clients' payroll from 12 months prior to the loan. So we're doing like April to March, for example, especially because that gives us the most, bang for our buck. Our clients tend to have, increasing payroll over time because they're more and more successful. However, in the application, it says to do do 2019. If, most businesses will enter their 2019 numbers. So how are you advising your, the people that you're advising right now? What numbers are you asking them to put in the box?
I'm only just like telling people what I think. So I'm not doing any like helping them with the applications.
Yeah.
The way that I read it tonight on the final rules was the 12 months prior, which I assume means whenever you apply for the loan, it's the 12 months before that. Yeah. But after this conversation, actually, let me go back to the SBA specialist that I spoke with. That gave me so much confidence. And the reason why he thinks that the distribution, because there's nothing in there that says, yes, you can use a K1. Yes, you can use an 1120. Yes, you can use a 1040. What he said is if the government did not want you to include distributions, he was like, I deal with these SBA loans enough that if they did not want something to happen, they would have put it in the this does not apply part.
Right.
You're so correct. They're very broad on the payroll cost language, which that's what, and it's the bank themselves. It's the actual person you're talking to that's going to be deciding what your annual monthly payroll is. So that's why you want to bring as much to them as possible, because honestly, I think every bank is going to be having little variations of rules. Those people are also going to be the ones that are going to be forgiving the money and be deciding like who gets forgiven. So if they approve it, they should be forgiving it as long as you show that that's what it was for. I thought it was going to be much more detailed, many more rules to follow. This is very broad, and I think it's going to get a little weird, but it's good for us.
What do you mean weird? What do you mean by that?
Like, I just think that people are going to be, I think people are going to get, there's going to be definitely people that I think take advantage of the program because there isn't as much like strict like guidelines to it.
Yeah.
So now I got two different pieces of information here. I got you that said the last 12 months. I had somebody also tell me that it's from January 1 to December 31. Is it?
That's what they said on Wednesday. That's what the Treasury said on Wednesday. Today, the final rule, it says the last 12 months. Honestly, I bet you could go into your bank and give them 2019 numbers and they would calculate your annual monthly payroll, or you could go in and give them the last 12 months and they'd again, the Bob at the bank, he knows less than the three of us.
That's true. He's right.
Yeah. I'll take the last 12 months for me. I mean, I'd rather have that than all 2018.
Yeah. So we're going to be we have reports that we're downloading out of Gusto that show gross payroll and the employer portion of the state and local taxes, any of the 401k, simple IRA kind of stuff, and any other benefits that are on the employer side. So we're downloading that. We have a big spreadsheet that we're filling out. We're downloading 941s, 940s, W-2s. I guess we don't need 1099s anymore, but we're just papering the hell out of our file in the event that we need it. The idea is that it's supposed to be simple and we won't need to like give you paper on, paper and paper and paper. But, I'd rather not go to my client later and say, hey, JK, I need everything. Like, let's go back and start from the beginning.
Right.
Mike, for your situation, like how many employees did you have March of last year, 2019?
Probably around 20 to 24.
And how many do you have now?
Right around 50, I think close to 50.
Okay. So I think I've got a couple of people that I'm friends with that are kind of in that like hyper growth situation from in the last 12 months. I am of the belief that the spirit of this law is that whatever was happening on February 15th in a business, the government wants you to keep those people employed at 100% of their pay through these 8 weeks if you take this money. Okay. Right. If you average out your last 12 months from the day you apply, April 3rd back to April 3rd, 2019, your average monthly payroll will not equal out to what your payroll is right now. No. So the people that have been in business for less than a year, they get to choose to use January and February as their annual monthly payroll calculation. I have a feeling that Bob, your banker, if you pitched it to him and it's like, Bob, I've got double the payroll that I have right now that I did back then. I need to be able to pay my people. Can we use the January, February numbers? And Bob, there's a coin flip that says that if you present your case the right way, Bob might be like, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah. And then Bob on the back end, as long as once you get approved for the money, the approval is kind of out the window. Now it's all about, did you use this money on payroll at least 75%? Right, and if exactly. At the end you came, I asked my SBA guy this. I said, Tom, if I just show you that here's a report, doesn't even say the names, here's just the number, and this is proven that I used this for payroll, do you think that the bank would forgive it? He's like, absolutely. I don't care who you pay. They just want to know that you're paying, that you're using this money towards payroll. I used to think it needed to be the same roster. They're going to check the salaries. No. It is. That's why I say I think it's going to get a little weird, because like now I think you could probably get rid of somebody that you didn't want to keep, add somebody else new in, and as long as your total payroll is 75%, or the money that you use, 75% of it goes towards payroll, I think you're probably going to be okay. That's the way. So
they care less about the same roster being on staff as much as they care about the same amount of money circulating in the economy.
They're looking at full-time equivalents.
That's what I think.
The equivalent it doesn't have to be a whole number. So if you have, 2 people who are working 20 hours a week, you don't have 2 people, you have 1 full-time equivalent, because they're both equaling 40 hours a week. There's a Department of Accountability or something that has the language on there. I put it on my blog. It's 2,080 hours a year, which is 2,080 divided by 52 weeks in a year is 40 hours a week. And you can have many people that are working, 40 hours a week, or you can have a few people working 20 hours a week, and you'll just take the full-time equivalent of that.
Right. Okay, cool. So next steps, let's go back. Business owner, what do you tell him? What does he do right now? He hasn't started anything yet, and he just heard of this podcast. What do you want to tell him?
Go download your payroll reports.
Download your payroll reports?
Yeah. So what we're pulling for our clients, we use Gusto. You should probably be able to get this in any system. We have a payroll detail report, and we're going to run the payroll, from March of last year or April of last year to March of this year. So a 12-month, window. And you need to be able to see what you've paid people so you can remove anybody over 100,000. And then you need to be able to
remove
see
anyone over 100,000 or
remove any amounts over 100,000. You can pay, there's a cap of 100,000. So if you pay Joe 120,000, you can only put 100,000 on the form.
okay, so
or in the total, there's the cap. Their upper limit is 100,000. Yeah.
Okay, so we don't remove anybody that's over 100,000. We just drop what we say to 100.
Yeah, you cap it. Yeah. So we have a spreadsheet that like we'll put everybody's yearly amount in, and then we have a formula that says remove. If it's more than 100, just put 100 in here, so that we don't have to.
Curious, like if it's more about the money, the payroll, and not so much about the roster. If I got somebody that's making 80 and somebody that's making 120, at the end of the day, it's still 200. I can't just put 200.
No, the law says that you have to remove anything above and beyond the 100,000. So the 100 can stay, but the 20,000 can't.
So if I have people making over 100 right now, should I like reduce their pay in order to make sure that we can do this?
No, because they're looking historically. You can't go back and change the past.
Yeah, but if I'm paying them that now going forward.
So this is so part of what in the bill, part of what the forgiveness was based on was your head count of full-time equivalent employees, and that each individual person did not get discounted, did not get their income dropped by more than 25%. So that's why I thought there was going to be a roster of people that said Susan Jones was making $3,000 a month. You can't drop her more than 25% off of that. But
so do you think
hold on. If you have someone who is over 100,000, that does not apply to them. So if you had a $300,000 person, you have to drop them down to 100,000. So it doesn't count against you as dropping their pay more than 25%.
So what you're saying is we do drop his pay right now, or we don't drop his pay?
You can.
We can.
Yes.
So it won't
with
be
somebody who's making
highly
50,
compensated.
With somebody who's making 50, you can't cut their pay in half and still get the full loan forgiveness.
But if somebody's
according to the bill.
But if somebody's making 120, even the owner is making 120, bringing it down to 100K would make sense, because you're only going to get reimbursed for that 100K.
Yeah, you could pay yourself. You're just not going to get the money back over 100.
But remember, Mike, you're not. It doesn't, like, you could still pay the person the 120. It's just that the government's only going to cover the first 100. Right. You don't have to like drop. There are businesses out there that are doing great. Zoom's crushing it, right? Yes. So they're not cutting any. They're like, nobody's making less money just because PPP exists.
Yeah. So do you think that 2.5? Do you think that 0.5 is meant to help cover that?
The 0.5 is, here's how I think of it. I think of it as they're giving you 2 months of payroll, but they're giving you 2.5 of your average payroll. The way I think of it is you are now functioning, for me, Nick Silveri, who has a practice that is closed and is bringing in $0, I am now functioning as the unemployment office for my 8 employees. So the government is giving me this money. I am supposed to now give it to them, and they are going to give me a 0.5 shipping and handling charge. And I can pay some rent and utilities and whatnot.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So first step, download pay reports from April 2019 to March 2020. Okay.
I would download them from January 1st, just in case your bank, because again,
as well,
the bank,
like do both.
Yeah, we're doing both anyway. We're getting all of 2019, and then we're doing the 12 months to the 31st of March. You should also download your quarterly reports, both state and federal. So 941, any other state reports that you might have, and then yearly reports like your W-2s and your 940.
Hold on.
All that's going to be in your...
Because you guys are speaking the language you guys both get, but hold on.
Sorry.
So quarterly reports, say that again.
Quarterly reports is a 941. There's also going to be different reports by state. Like each state's going to have their own quarterly report if they collect, taxes. Like some states don't have stuff that you need to collect on, like income tax for payroll. The annual reports, federal, is a 940. Or you can get, or also in addition to that, you would get the W-2s. Again, you might not need it, but I'd rather have everything ready, all in one spot. My lender I've been in touch with him all day. So he's asked also for things like a canceled check or like wiring instructions for where you plan on sending the funds, whether or not you're going to need it. I don't really keep checks around, so I'm going to have to scrounge to find one, but might as well look for it now before it's too late. I'm asking for my clients to send me copies of their IDs front and back. Usually when you're getting a loan, they ask for those sorts of things. And then when you're thinking about forgiveness, which is not going to happen now, but in the future, just start looking for lease agreements, any mortgages and mortgage statements, or like the agreement for that, or any loan agreements, any utility statements that you're going to be using for forgiveness, because
And
they're going to ask.
to be clear too, when you say mortgage, just to clarify, that's for commercial, not for residential. It's a commercial mortgage.
Commercial, yeah. So you can use the interest in the mortgage or the interest in other debt obligations as part of your forgiveness. So you don't need that right now to do the calculation. But if you want to start putting everything in one spot so that you can immediately ask for that forgiveness, just start dumping them in a folder, because you want to be first in line for the forgiveness as well.
Okay. And all this stuff here, they should be able to just get from their bookkeeper. If they just say, hey, I need all these things, they should be able
we're
to get
downloading everything for our clients. Like we do all of our payroll and Gusto. They might do the people who are watching this might use ADP or Paychecks or QuickBooks or something else, or, whatever. All the quarterly and annual forms and all the payroll reports are going to be there. Whether or not you know how to run them or find them, that's going to be person to person. But we're doing this for all of our clients because this isn't their forte.
Yeah, good. Step 2, where do they go to do this application? I'm assuming that's the next step.
Yeah. So the Treasury Department, and I can link it to you right now, or I'll have to get it again. I actually closed it. I have it.
Can they get it just from SBA.gov, or is that?
No, you have to go to the Treasury Department, it's treasury.gov or something.
I'll put the link in the description.
Google
YouTube video.
Paycheck Protection Program application, and it'll pull up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they have the newest version up. They pulled the older version down. Let's see if there's anything else here. So filling that form out would be, it's not going to take you long after you've got those calculations. So when you're pulling the report, you're going to look at the gross wages. You're going to look at any employer sponsored benefit programs. So health insurance, dental, vision, things like that, as long as the employer paid it, not something pulled out of somebody's check because they're paying it. Same thing with simple IRA 401k. You're going to plug that number in. So the employer portion, and again, state and local taxes, employer portion only. You're not going to use federal taxes. You're not going to take anything out of the employee side. It should be really clear as to what's employee and what's employer.
And it's pretty clear on the app, right? For you to just fill in the blanks as far as, okay, do state, but don't do federal.
On the application? No.
Yeah. So it's not. So should an owner fill this out, or should they have their bookkeeper fill this out?
So I'm doing this for my clients because I don't want them to make a mistake and have to get kicked to the back of the line or get less money than they deserve, or, that they are due. So I would say if you don't know how to do it, at least ask for help. Talk to Dr. Nick, talk to me, talk to somebody.
Don't talk.
No. Don't
talk to Dr. Nick. Talk to me about it.
Yeah.
We're going to be cranking out hundreds of these. I'm going to be.
Now, are you able to take, like, if somebody watching this right now says,
I can't take any new clients right now.
I was going to say, so where do they just have to hope their bookkeeper?
This
they
is
can
so
call me next
simple.
week.
This is so simple to where you could do it yourself. You just have to know the stuff that you need, like this list of stuff. Just get it. Like it's not that hard. Like you can do it.
It's not that hard
business
for you guys.
Like you said in our last interview, Mike, this is your job as a business owner to like go get the money that's out there. This is the money that's out there right now.
But what I can do, Nick, is if I have someone like Tina, I can use my Tina.
Yeah.
If I don't have a Tina, then just get the shit done. As excruciating as it is, just fill out the form.
It's not that bad.
It's not hard. You just need to make sure that you're putting the right numbers in. So don't shoot yourself in the foot by putting like net pay in there. Make sure it's the gross wages. And, don't put somebody that's highly compensated, like anything over 100,000, because you don't want to be dinged for that, or like have your application move more slowly. So spend the time tonight. You have, if you're still awake, you have a few hours, I'm sure, drink a cup of coffee, go to ADP or Paychecks or Gusto and download the report. Once you have everything in front of you, it's not challenging, but just, don't wait until the applications are ready to be accepted. Do it before that time. So if you run into a problem, you have time to ask or time to Google or whatever. Right.
Okay, cool. So now let's say I fill out this application. What should I expect? I hit submit. Now what? Like I have no.
You don't hit submit on this though. This is the application that we're filling out as a PDF. It's not like you're not like sending it to a bank right now. Dr. Nick has a web application or portal, whatever, that he's going to be using. And I'm assuming that every single bank is going to have not only this application, but a place to duplicate the data in like their own internal database. So you'll just be filling the form again, but they do have a requirement that this form is signed and on file. So whatever that portal looks like is going to be different from bank to bank, but the information should generally be the same.
When
Okay.
I was talking about the portal, I mean an SBA portal for the banks, but every bank has you have to find out. I can't stress this enough. You got to talk to the bank where you're getting this from, because everybody's going to have their own little nuances.
Right. Yeah. And I had a client that their bank actually opened up their own internal portal. It really was just like a form on their website, but they're asking for stuff that wasn't on this. So like date of birth that, or, that wasn't on the form, but we had to pull the driver's license to do that. So we're asking everybody for the driver's license. They may have something else. Another one was, where do you want the funds to be deposited? So we're asking for wire instructions or check, but if they didn't include the routing number, it means that you had to be a client of their bank. So you just plug in, the account number. So there might be some small nuances here and there changing bank to bank, but generally the information will be exactly the same. So you're very close. So fill out the PDF, have it ready when the banks open their applications. Have the application that you've already filled out on one screen or on one part of your screen, and then the bank on the other, and just copy and paste.
Got it. Okay, so you're not printing out the form. You're still just going to keep it up, and then
I'm just going to have a PDF of it. Like I'm going to save it as like a completed
PDF.
Form, and then be ready to submit.
So you're just filling out the form so that you can have everything in one place quickly. So when you need to fill out the real form, or the one that the bank actually gets, you just transfer everything over, copy paste.
Right. And it might be kind of similar to the disaster loan program, where they originally had you do the portal and then they switched to an upload. So if I get to a point where I can't use a portal and I have to do a direct upload instead, I already have the form. So I don't have to worry. There's not any more work for me to do.
Okay. So now anybody watching right now where it's 8:30, their bank is closed right now. So if their bank, maybe it's open. I have no idea. Are banks open right now because of this whole thing?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, if they're open, they're just not going to answer the phone.
Yeah. Okay. So if banks are closed right now, are you saying that tomorrow, 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., whenever the bank opens, just call right away? 5 a.m. They open at 5 tomorrow?
They're supposed to be starting to take applications at 5 in the morning. So the likelihood of me staying up until then is pretty high.
Wow.
But I'm a night owl, so it doesn't really matter. I'm usually up till like 2 in the morning anyway. So it's not much of a stretch.
Okay.
Hey, Mike. Can I say two more quick things, and I got to run because I still haven't even shared this news with the people.
Yeah, and
that
I got to get back to my applications too.
So, one thing is, if you have two businesses, you are applying as a business entity. So I have Leverage Media and I have Springfield or Silveri Chiropractic. I'm going to be applying for both of those because they each have their own set of employees. So you can apply as different businesses. I don't think that there's any kind of regulations in if you make $100,000 in one and $100,000 in the other. I haven't read anything that would preclude you from that. And then the other thing is, you get one shot at this. You cannot get 2 PPP loans. So do not say, well, I only need half of the money now and I'll get the other half later. First of all, you can only do it once. And I would not wait, because when this money is gone, it may be gone. They may replenish it. They may extend it. Who knows? But I would not wait on this money, because they're saying that in a week or two, it might all be gone.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So we are pushing hard to get everything done. If we can get all of our applications
hey, Mike,
out tomorrow,
I got to run. So
Okay, Nick, hey, dude, thank you so much, man. You gave us so much. So thank you so much. And if there's anything we can do for you, just let us know.
Nick,
Awesome.
you're awesome. I love everything that you've said. So you're great.
Good, thank you.
Kick ass.
Thanks, Nick.
Good luck.
All right, Christina, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to say, our lender that we're working with has told me point blank that we are going to have preferential treatment, meaning they know what all the finances are going to be right. They know that what we're doing is going to be exact. We have a long-standing relationship with them. They're going to, do their very best. I mean, that's, words. I don't know if it's actually true, but I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to give them complete information. So complete loan application, every document they need, everything checked off and ticked and tied, it's going to be perfect, with the idea that we will be able to push our loans for the highest legal amount possible in the fastest amount of time possible. I'm glad that Dr. Nick was able to get, some confirmation from his bank that they're going to be able to get funding, and the loan application up by tomorrow. But I'm very, very doubtful that all banks are going to be ready by tomorrow. I think it's going to be a Monday kind of thing, which buys us some time, especially with a new application and new rules. But if you're freaking out, which a lot of people are, I have no joke, 400 emails that I have not replied to today. I still have to get to them, and voicemails. Don't worry. Just pay attention. Call your bank if you've not already asked them. Talk to your bookkeeper, talk to your accountant. talk to somebody who has, somebody who is an SBA lender. Just be in touch. And if they're telling you they don't have news, they're not lying. They want to lend as much as you want the money. It's for them.
So they want to lend. It's good for them to lend.
They do, because they're getting points on the back end. They're getting anywhere from they're getting 5%, 3%, or 1% on the loan, depending on the total amount. It's 100% guaranteed by the SBA. There's really it's not really risky to them. It's risky to them when it comes to like servicing the loan, which is why they went for the 1%, rate versus the 0.5. So that just got changed. But overall, like to them, if you default, the government pays them. So what do they care? They're just looking for risk. Yeah. So while we're being very cautious, because that's in our nature and we want to make sure that we're protecting our clients as best as possible, we're going to go for as much as we can get, and we're going to document it, to do so. So just be prepared. When the floodgates open, there's going to be a million other people who are after, $349 billion. So just make sure that you have your ducks in a row.
So tomorrow, if let's say I call the bank, I could imagine that I won't be able to get a hold of somebody because there's probably going to be.
Well, I already got you. I mean, as long as you're using my banker, I'm
not me, but I'm speaking on behalf of everyone listening that's going, shit, I don't have an appointment. So
yeah, well, you don't have to have an appointment, just call.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm doubtful that it's hard to believe. Or I guess I should say it's easy to imagine that it's going to be hard to get somebody on the phone quickly because everyone's going to be calling. So do you think it's good to drive and go there, or do you think the whole stay-at-home thing, like, don't go?
Most banks are closed. I mean, most banks are going to be closed. They actually changed the rules because to make it like a digital or like online application because of coronavirus. So go to your bank's website and use their chat function and call them or email them or, try to be in touch.
Figure it out, get a hold
of it.
But
I mean, I have my banker on speed dial at this point. Like he picks up the phone on the first ring because we have a report. He's an amazing person. He's honest with me when he tells me the limitations of the program, and I'm not getting like BS'd at all. But at the same time, like, he tells me he doesn't think it's going to happen on, tomorrow. Articles that I've seen online are telling me the same. The president, on Twitter is saying that it's going to happen. I don't know. I just am very doubtful that they're going to be able to roll out this. Yeah, right. It's like, so it's definitely not going to happen. No, I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. And the last time I talked to, bankers, the banker, he was like, there's no guidance. So I can't tell you exactly what we need, except for we need payroll information. And I was like, well, that's really great, but we'll get you all your payroll information.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you're on my team because I want somebody on my team that's got their banker on speed dial because I do not.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, if we really have to help our clients, like, yeah, we're getting the fee to do it. I'm going to pay my team for that. They're working their butts off for this right now. They're working like 12 or 15 hours today just to get this done. And I'm still going to be here doing it too. So cool. We get some on the back end, but my biggest thing is, you have to pay your team. I don't want you to lay your team off. I don't want you to stop, making good on the contracts that you've made. So I have an obligation to help you grow and succeed. And that will filter back to us because we're going to continue working with one another.
It's kind of crazy how small business owners are doing it. Like, you're doing it for me. I'm doing it for my studio.
Yeah, it's a big ripple effect.
It is. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Tina, is there anything else we need to add, or we feel like we covered all the updates and things we have to do?
No, just if you've got someone who's got your back doing this, please give them a high five and a hug because they're probably as stressed out as I am.
Give them a Wi-Fi. Give them a Wi-Fi.
A Wi-Fi.
But we're not passing Coronas. Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi.
I love it.
All right, Tina.
Well, I'm going to peace out. See ya.
Close out. Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Boom. We'll see ya.
Bye.